full name is Samuel Lewis Jaynes, born in Columbus, Mississippi, in July the 2nd, 1926.
So you just turned 100.
Right.
How did that feel?
Some days I feel pretty tired, but some days it feels pretty good.
So you were born in Columbus,
Uh,
and that's where you went to school?
right.
Where did you graduate high school?
1944.
What school?
Lehigh, well, but one high school, except the black high school, white high school and black, that was Lehigh. It was named after General Lee, the one that started the war, not Robert, but his cousin, you know. He's buried down there at Columbus, too.
What did you do when you graduated from high school?
I went to, well, I was in the Navy. I went to the Navy right out of high school. I was in, I had pretty good grades, so I got they put me in the V-12 program. But me and a fellow had some problems second year I was in there, and they sent me to the fleet, which was really the best thing that ever happened to me. Because I met some heroes in the fleet, so I mean some real heroes. I first started in the V-12 program, which is at the University of South Carolina. Then they moved me to Howard College over at Birmingham, but that's where I had problems with a fellow. Me and him got in a almost fight, but they sent me to the fleet.
And where was the fleet?
Well, they sent me first up to Great Lakes for reclassification. Then they caught that ship right there. After I went to fire control school, that ship caught a kamikaze at Okinawa, and I had to run in a circle for 3 days to keep from sinking. There was some ships, there was some heroes on that ship.
You were on that ship?
Yes, I caught it as they come back. I wasn't on it when it caught the kamikaze. I caught it as I was working on it after it come back to the station I was working on it.
What was your job on the ship?
I was a fire controlman.
Okay.
Fire controlman, what we did was direct the things that directed the fly, aim the guns and that stuff like that.
Okay. So how long were you in the Navy?
A little over 2 years.
And that was during World War II?
Uh-huh.
Okay. How'd you get out of it?
Well, I finished my enlistment. The war was over. Got out in 46, right after the war ended. I come back, went to college at Mississippi State, and finished there in 1949 in engineering. And I went to school. I went to work for the highway department out of college. I worked for it for several years. Then I went in business with me and a fellow here, had a construction company. We had a paving company. And then I got out of it, sold out on it. We didn't agree on what had to be done. But then I went back a year later to work with him as a general superintendent, which we did for a couple of years. Then I went back to work just a short time for the highway department, but I went back into business for myself and did that until I retired, really. Of course, I worked as county engineer for 32 years, but that was just one of my jobs. I had my company going all the time, too.
What was the name of your company?
Continental Services.
And when did you get out of that? When did that?
I sold out. I quit that in 2004 or 6.
Okay. So you were 80.
Yeah, I was 80 something.
What was the biggest project that you worked on?
Well, we, of course, like during that time, I was county engineer, so we did a lot of road building, handled it, and we did an awful lot of surveying and stuff like that. Was a lot of our business, and just any kind of engineering that needed to be done, we did it.
Did you have anything to do with the waterway?
Yes, we worked on it with the contractors a whole lot. We did a lot of not only surveying on it, but we did a lot of construction management and things so forth on it. We worked with several of the contractors on the waterway.
Do you remember what year that all started?
Let me see. The waterway was opened up in '86, so we were working on a long dam out here. It started in about sometime late '70s. I forget what year now.
Okay. So it took 6 to 8 years, probably.
And more like 10.
Okay.
Because we're not only here. I was working on it up there in north of Mississippi and everything. We did a lot of work up in there, and it was a lot. It took a while.
Why do we need a lock and dam? What is the?
Well,
I understand what it.
what
it
in
does.
these shallow places, a boat couldn't get through unless you had something to get the water up deep enough, and that's what a lock and dam does. See this lock out here, it raises the water 20, almost 30 feet from where it is. So if it was down 30 foot, it'd be dragging the bottom, you see. So it comes into that lock and raises the water up 30 foot. It goes on up to the next lock and dam, and does that. And we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 till you get up to, and most of those are about 30 foot, and then you get one up there, it's 60 something foot, that's it, up, what they call that lock there, into the Tennessee River, really.
That gets you from. Are those 6 lock and dams from just what's on the 10 Tom? Okay. So that allowed barges and stuff to be able to come through? Is that what it does? That's the boats that it's trying to get down the river.
Right. You see, that's how the ship can come up to the Tennessee River, because it lifts them up. Because see, it's it's right at 200 foot difference in elevation of the water up at north end and down the south end.
Okay.
So it drops it. Other than that big drop up there, a 60-something foot, the rest of them about 30 foot.
Okay. What brought you to Aberdeen then?
Huh?
If you're from Columbus, how did you end up in Aberdeen?
I was working for the highway department. They changed the office up here. We were building 45. I was project engineer on it, and we moved the office from Columbus up here since we were working on 45 up north town here.
So what year was that when you came to Aberdeen?
1953.
Okay. So you've been in Aberdeen since 1953.
Right.
Okay. And did you have a family then?
What?
Did you have a family then?
Yes. I already had one. Well, my second daughter was born here. I had one daughter when we moved up here.
Okay. So you pretty much raised your family here
Right.
in Aberdeen.
Basically, they went to school here, except for a little while we lived over at Batesville. They went to school over there one semester or 1 year. But other than that, they went to school here and finished school here in Aberdeen.
Did you say what year you graduated high school? 44?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So in 1953, you moved to Aberdeen, and you had your business here.
Yeah, well, I was working for the highway department.
Okay. And then, what year did you start your business?
I got in about 55, 50, me and this fellow went in what we call a Mississippi Alabama paving company. It was an asphalt company. And that lasted a couple of years, and I couldn't talk him in. He had more money than I did. And I couldn't talk him and put more where we could buy what we needed to have a real good company.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back in highway department for a year, then went back to work with him as general superintendent for a couple of years. I'm working on the roads till I went, when I started my own business in what was that? 66, I believe.
So you've been a part of Aberdeen and downtown, and your business is right down the hill from the hospital, right?
Uh-huh.
That's correct. Okay.
Well, I was first out at the airport for about 7, 8 years. Then a building came available down at where I bought it down there below the airport. Below the hospital down right there next to Whitehall. And I bought that in, I forget what year now, about 71 or somewhere along.
When you first came to Aberdeen in the 50s, what was it like then compared to what it's like now, economically?
Aberdeen was a pretty good little town back in the 50s. So it was. It was a nice town, and it wasn't. We had 2 or 3 things working with us. We had a good paper here, and a man he did a good job of keeping people straight with it. We hadn't had one in a long time.
You talking about the newspaper?
Uh-huh.
Which paper was that?
The Aberdeen Examiner, they called it, and his name was Roy Stanford. He was ended up being a real good friend of mine, but he finally left and went back to work for one of the big paper companies. He was a big man with it. He was quite a character.
Do you think a local newspaper is important to a small town?
It's real important.
Why?
It keeps people involved. It keeps people knowing what's going on. You don't know who's doing what now. You don't have any idea.
So the death of the small town newspapers has affected a lot of communities, would you say?
I tell you what, a good, strong newspaper has more to do with the success of a town. You just look at Tupelo. It's the Tupelo Journal has more. The old man that started it had more to do with Tupelo becoming a good town than anybody. Mm-hmm. If you don't believe it, just look back and see what he accomplished.
Because it helps people feel like they are a part of a community? Do you think that's has something to do with it?
Yeah.
By reading the paper, you feel like you're a part of it?
Right. Well, you find out more what's going on and everything. And I think Tupelo is one of the greatest examples of a good newspaper. And Columbus had a good newspaper for years, but they were they're not near as strong as the man in Tupelo was. Mm-hmm. He was like the man in Aberdeen. If it wasn't going good, he'd call a spade now, and a hurry. I mean, it was a good town going then. So it was.
Wasn't there a time when there was more than one newspaper in
Well,
Aberdeen?
yeah, Dr. Murphy and them put in another one, but it didn't last about 2 years.
What was that one called?
I forget now. But what was that thing? Dr. Murphy's sister run it, Virginia King. And the doc went out of business as soon as Roy sold out to this fellow down at, what's the name of the town? But he sold out then, and man come up here, and it was a good little newspaper, but he wasn't as strong as Roy was. So, but it stayed on pretty good for 8 or 10 years before, and it just finally died out.
When
Another
did you?
thing too, at the same time, all that time that your school system went bad, you know, instead of them staying here and fighting for the school system, white people went to West Point, and we ended up with a black school system we still have.
Because people just wouldn't fight for their own community.
And the ones that, you know, like Amer and them, that stayed with the school, they've done pretty good. Mm-hmm. But Aberdeen, they started school down at West Point. Most of them went with it. Well, because my school kids were all out of school now.
When did you become involved with Aberdeen's Main Street program?
Oh, it's been so long.
From the beginning?
I guess when it started.
Even before the official Main Street program started, were you doing things to help push Aberdeen forward with that whole downtown area? Have you always been involved with that area?
Most of it I have, yes. And of course I was a city engineer under a couple of administrations.
You've been recognized a lot for your involvement with the Main Street program. What makes you believe in that program?
Well, it was trying to help the town. I mean, it was trying to do what's good for everybody. It doesn't just help the people's best off. It helps everybody.
It looks like you have a lot of work on your desk now. What are you doing now? What's your...
Most of it I just hadn't cleaned up. But most of it's investments. But So I never worked with anybody where I got a pension or anything, so I have to take care of my investments.
Is this the house that you lived in your whole Aberdeen
I
time?
moved here in '78.
Okay.
I lived down on the street this side of Walker. When we first moved here, that was in '53, and we lived down there until '78, and we bought this house up here.
Okay. You didn't build this house? Okay.
Now, this house was built before I was born.
Okay.
This house was built in 1924.
What would you like to see happen in Aberdeen?
Of course, it would be nice if it was back like it was, but you know, there's 2 or 3 things happened that made Aberdeen a good town back then.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, one thing was that ammunition plant out there they had during the war. Then after they closed the ammunition plant, they had a vehicle storage business out there. It was, you can't believe it, it was probably 200 acres of jeeps and trucks and stuff stored out there for several years before they got rid of all of them. That was all World War II stuff, you know. And that was, but then you had Walker Manufacturing. Yeah, had pretty good. It started in the '50s, and you had pretty good business here and everything. But as things went bad or changed, you just don't have the class of businesses you used to have.
So what would you like to see, like more businesses come in?
Yes,
like
it'd
that?
be nice if we had something that was good for business, had some good business, which you hadn't got right now. You know, most of the people in Aberdeen that were the white folks moved down south here. It's Hamilton, and the town just hadn't grown any since. It's shrunk instead of grown. It's going downhill instead of.
I wonder what the population.
It's probably less than 5,000 now. I don't know exactly. Maybe down to 4, but it's not near as big as it was. Up to almost 7,000 back years ago.
Yeah.
So it's not near as big as it. You just look at all the empty houses and vacant lots. Now you don't have the houses that you used to have.
Yeah. Well, when there's no jobs, people don't move here, and then there's nobody to live in the houses,
Right.
And nobody to spend money to create taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we hadn't got over 70% of the population we had 50 years ago.